but when I was talking to Carrie, he said, well, gosh, it sounds like what you want is this piece of property over here. And I'm like, well, why the heck didn't I know about this before? And there's a beautiful parcel of land, which Carrie will tell you about shortly here, and we'll go visit that. We'll actually be able to, I would carpool over, we'll park over there. And for those that need assistance, Roger will take them on the golf cart. And that way he can drive you down and you can see the property. So it's very, very exciting. But what basically has become, I think, the overall vibe and interest of the group is this. And I'm just going to put it out here, and then I'm going to let Carrie talk, and then we're going to open up for questions and conversation. Just to let you know, today is not necessarily a planning meeting. It's not one where we're going to create the thing today, just to let you know. It's just, let's get to know each other, get to know the property, see how we feel it feels. Then we're going to have a questionnaire and create committees and things of that nature. But certainly input is welcome, but it's not a day of like, master planning by any means. But what seems to be the interest is, as I said, most people want their own property, their own house, and they want it to be in a community with like-hearted people, which is my new favorite phrase. That new woman that came to the center a few weeks ago, she wanted to be with like-hearted people instead of like-minded, like-hearted, which I thought that was really beautiful. And so that's, I think, what brought us together. We've got that at the Namaste Center for sure. And so on top of that, there's a lot of interest and great interest in having land to farm on, to actually grow a garden. And you can't believe how big this the space is for the garden. It was mind-boggling when you took me back there, Carrie. I was like, whoa, it's a lot of gardening. He said we could feed Hendersonville on that. And maybe we will. But it's a beautiful patch of land and flat and open. So gardening, everyone owns their own place, their own piece of land. There would also be, there's a lot of interest in creating something off the grid, which there's certainly that possibility, and I think I'll let Carrie go into that, the pros and cons of that, and how it could work, but what we need to do to make that happen. There's also interest in having a community gathering place where there could be community meals and meetings, so we could just come in and support each other. Also a place where people could grow old together and support each other. You know, we're creating a new paradigm of retirement. You know, people that I'm meeting, including ourselves, are seeking a more simpler way of being and living. You know, it's not about the big mansions anymore, the big houses. It's just about sustainability, community, and beauty, of course, and great people. So that's certainly one aspect of it as well. Now, there's also a few individuals who to have their own property, their own house is not of interest. Could be because could be financially not possible. It could be because you know, some people just don't want to own anything anymore. I would like to see maybe having, and Carrie had mentioned that property lends itself very nicely to, you know, group housing. So maybe where there would be a few homes that people could share a house. And so that's certainly a possibility. And maybe, again, how would that happen? Well, just doing the math, and I did it very randomly, but if, you know, someone's looking for an investment, maybe they'd want to build one of these and rent out sections of it to people. Anything's possible. But I really would like to see us come together, and I'm always a possibility thinker. I don't want to be burdened by past beliefs and thoughts and influenced by those of, well, that's not possible, that'll never happen, I could never live there because blah, 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 blah. I'd like to see us come together. We know that there's no limit in Spirit's ability to create. And if we all come together in a heart space, then we can create something magical and beautiful. And the only, you know, as far as Ellen and my participation, we are, wherever this may land, I'm sure that we'll be an integral part of it. We would certainly acquire some property. We have that RV. We'd love to park it and maybe live out of that and hook it up. And who knows, you know, the idea of simplifying our life sounds appealing too. So, but at the least, you know, we're certainly going to be a part of it in property in the RV. And it could be the whole kahuna, you never know. So it's, but it's got great possibilities. We've got great people. And I envision a community where we really do love each other and get along, you know. I've done the battles. I'm done with those. I'm so grateful to say that the family we've created with our center is so loving and peaceful and supportive and cooperative, and I know that that's possible. And so, you know, if we could just, there's no battle in spirit, only in the ego. So if we just really surrender this to spirit, this could be a testimony to really what is possible, which is a community of love. And it's awesome. And I'm thrilled you all are all here. The possibilities are endless. I'm available for any questions you might have. We'll do a little Q&A in just a minute. But I'm going to go ahead and let Carrie take over. But beforehand, before I bring Carrie up, a few years ago, when Ellen and I have lived here 9 years, that's hard to believe. But when we moved here, I got into real estate. That was a detour. I still am not sure why that happened. But I did it. Maybe it was for this, to learn a little more about it. But anyway, I did that for a few years. Didn't really find my bliss there, but missed my spiritual practices and teaching and things of that nature. And when I left Florida, I swore I would never do another center, but here you have it. Made plans, God laughs, right? So anyway, I just was, Carrie was very kind when we first moved here to allow me to do Sunday services and events out of the Lake House, what used to be the Lake House Lodge, now it's the Girls Academy. We used to have Sunday service there, and then up at the sanctuary. I know Carrie's got an open heart. I know he's a beautiful being. He's very fair. He's a giver. Maybe like me, maybe a little too much in some cases. But I know he comes from the place we all do, and I think he's a beautiful person, and it's exciting to be here and maybe to co-create something really awesome with Carrie. So Carrie, thank you for offering this opportunity, and let's give Carrie a welcome.
Well, I have to say welcome back, because the part that I remember is when you were at the sanctuary, you were doing all those crazy things.
Yeah, right.
And then Great Britain.
Yeah, there you go.
So welcome. Really nice that you all are here. I'm just going to talk a little bit about how this came into being. We're 29 years into the 200-acre project, and this, where we are right here, is the fourth one. The first was up at the end. And that whole conference center, which interestingly enough arose out of a passion with a workshop that Bob gave over at your place once. Bob Stevens.
Right, exactly.
I was doing workshops with him on emotional release work, and he lost his place. I said, well, I just bought this old camp, so why don't you just come on down and we'll figure it out. And so for 2 years, that's what was happening here. But it's interesting that it's taken all these turns. So that was 15 years worth, and then went across the street in the neighborhood where Roger and Madeline and Barbara live. So there's 170 homes right up to there. And you probably saw this one when you came in, the view of all the goats and sheep around there, the Garden Hamlet cottages. So that's the third one. This is the fourth one. And there's 3 more to come that it's not going to be my destiny to do. I'm looking for folks that want to create the next level of community. I think there's only so far that a developer can take anything. And really that's structural. And those structures have a lot to do with it. But after that, it's the field that the residents are going to create. And there's something that I want to see you all prove out wherever you go. I know it's true. That the greatest value to the neighborhood that you create is going to be the field that's held there. And people are going to walk into it, not know, they're just going to go, man, this place is special. I hear it every time a group comes to the sanctuary, because that building was built by my practice community, the teacher that I've studied with for 15 years. And we very mindfully created that whole project together. And you can walk into that energy now, and it actually helps lift every group that comes in there to do the work they do. Same thing can happen in the community. So all of this came out of my 3 crazy passions, which are real food, real places, and real people. Real food, for me, I'll just define it. It's grown organically. You have a relationship with who's growing it, because that's the second field. The first field is the field that goes in. The second one is the stewardship of the person running it. And then prepared with love, so it's your third field. Food done that way, for me, can be truly nourishing the whole body. It's the exact opposite of what most of us get to eat these days if we're not thinking about it. Real places, half of it's, leave half of it alone, which is what we've done here. There's 50 to 60% permanent open space that's deeded into the whole place. And then go slow. We're 28 years into this. It wasn't come in, draw it up, get it built. It's an ongoing relationship and stewardship. And real people, it's just folks who want to get down to the bottom third turtle of what is it to be an authentic human being. So we're going to go look at this piece, which is called, for lack of a better word at the moment, the farm. It's 25 acres. It's zoned for 35 homes and as many as 35 accessory dwellings if someone wanted to look at it. That's just some of you remember the Canets, but that was their house.
Now Deb lives there now. This is who lives there now. Deb Kaufman's house now.
We're gonna walk in this way, although this won't be the official entry. In the future, that's the official entry. And we're also gonna walk in a trail right here, which can kind of go back in. You can tell this is where kind of all the brush that's come out of here has been piled, and some of the logs that came out. So it's not all walkable, but Leon mowed this yesterday, so we can walk into here and we can walk into there.
What's the direction?
The direction, that's north, so all of this is facing south this way. So let me do this right now. Before we go over there, you've got any questions so we can get kind of an overview? Because once you're in the woods, it's just going to look like woods.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Where is that open, because I've walked it already, part of it. Where's that open space with the garden area?
This is all garden, and
Okay.
we actually did a CSA there for a couple of years, way back, but the neighborhood was really too small then to support it.
And where is the road in relationship to that piece?
Well, there's one road coming out of the village
Yeah,
here.
but I mean, there's a main road that's up, that's on either, yeah.
We've got the Highland Lake Drive that runs through here. So you go all the way through the neighborhood to get there, or off of Highland Park Drive, a little shorter way.
And so somebody else owns the piece between the main road and this piece?
No.
Well, I'm confused.
I mean, the Jeff Hudson owns this piece here, which is about 10 acres, which is actually also for sale.
And you'll get more acquainted with it when we get over there, and you can ask questions. But in general, does anyone have any questions or input that they feel like is appropriate for today's conversation?
And I'm willing to work with the group to design a community going wherever you go. I'm not attached to y'all actually coming here. That's guided by somebody else other than me.
I was a little confused, Charlotte, when you were talking, is it full-time residents or some full-time, some part-time? How did you envision it?
I would say most people, this would be their homes. I mean, some may make it a part-time, but I would say it's their home.
Because you mentioned the RV.
Well, that would be just our case scenario. We would do whatever we had to do to have a place to park our RV. But it wouldn't really be a place to bring in RVs unless you had a lot and a slab laid and all that. You know, so we'd have to look into that.
There's a few rigs.
Yeah, that's right.
I got a question. Just on the zoning, as far as this part is concerned, as well as another 10-acre parcel over by the other gentleman, what zoning category is that?
Believe it or not, this is actually zoned for 100 units. But when I bought it from the Clevelands eons ago, we agreed on a restriction of 3/4 acre lots. So it's down to 35.
Next question, sort of along the zoning / RV parking scenario, for people who might own a mobile home and want to place it on a permanent foundation, is it zoned for that or no?
You can do modulars.
Yeah.
And an RV would literally have to be in the garage to be over in flat rock.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
You'll have to build a bedroom.
Yeah, we would, yeah, well, that's, don't worry, we won't go off on that conversation, but yeah, we're on it. Yeah.
Are there any overall design guidelines for this, the unit being within this?
You know, if you all took this on as a whole, that would then be up to you. We've got a master association that has representatives from the hamlet and from South Lake folks and the village folks. And that group does have a bit of oversight over the way things are going to look. Up to that point, though, I do. I guess just need to look around this kind of the way I like things.
Sorry, I'm trying to
Yeah.
you said there was like a homeowners association, or what was the group?
There's one form for each one. So if you all did that, that would be your own association.
I thought you said there was some oversight.
There's a master association. All they do really is make sure that any shared items that every phase contributes to.
Two things. One, Shar mentioned the possibility of having a group housing or a group meeting room, and I guess that's sort of what this structure is. Or
For this particular community, that's what this is.
right. Okay. And I just wondered if that was a possibility within the individual lots that you're.
What I've seen, and this is a real good model if anyone wants to look it up, it's Dr. William Thomas, called greenhouses. And they're homes for like 6 to 7 people. But they're a brilliant alternative to anything just shy of assisted living. They're built around a big kitchen living, but everybody's got their own space. And the ones I've visited in Connecticut, everybody's got their own little courtyard behind as well. But typically, it'd be 5 or 6 people sharing the home.
Other items, would a geodesic dome style be something that wouldn't fit within this community, or what's your thoughts on that?
That might push matters just a little.
But modular is okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have to be very cognizant of the folks who've already moved here. You know, that we stay relatively in keeping with the arts and crafts style and stuff.
Yeah, Larry?
Yeah, how would the roads and utilities be developed? Would they be done by the municipality?
Well, that would be up to how you want to structure it. If you all wanted to just go find a piece of land and hire someone to develop it, you could go that route. Or with us, if you end up doing something with this, we'd be glad to sit down and come up with a plan. We've done it a few times.
Okay.
Carrie, is there a possibility of solar energy?
Yeah, because the sun's coming in from this angle, and there's nothing in, there's no mountains or anything in the way.
It would just be clear in the woods, right?
Yeah, the biggest challenge, all this is clear here, just small trees. But for the folks, let's just say that you came in with a single road the way this is shown back here, and you came right up through, you'd have one group of homes that's in full sun and one that you'd have to do some thinning out to get sun to them. So it just depends on how you feel about that.
Would it be individual solar for each unit or a complex that would service the whole community?
I haven't thought about that.
Good question.
A thought on that. Roads today can be photovoltaic, so can housing shingles. There's a lot more possibilities than there were just a few years ago.
I just want to clarify on something you said, Ron, mainly for the notes. The idea of a community house, say such as this, and the idea of shared housing are two separate things. Do you realize that?
Right.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that was clear. And Bill?
Is it our decision or no? Based on the zoning and maybe the covenants of the existing communities, do we have the potential option of building apartments and renting them out as a potential?
Not back here, although we could put an accessory dwelling behind every one of them and rent those out if you wanted to. I think if there's really a group of people who'd like to have that kind of thing, we're totally zoned for that all the way through here. And any group that wanted to create an apartment building could just have it associated with. There is actually another group, I don't know if you're familiar with Elder Spirit out of Abingdon. Dean has been here several times and consulting with a group that's looking at this area. And that's the direction they're heading, kind of senior housing.
Yeah, would this community that we're kind of developing in our hearts and our minds, would it be intergenerational or would it be a 55+ community?
I would hope it would be intergenerational.
Yeah.
I mean, you got enough room. I mean, you got to remember, there's as much acreage here with 35 units on it as there is right here with about 100.
Yeah.
So you got a little elbow room.
You know, one thing, just one sec, I wanted to just make a note of when we do go over there. If you've never seen Highland Lake Village, we're going to drive through that. That's where Deb lives, and it's a beautiful area back there. Just know that was the land there. I asked Carrie, he said that was the same land that was basically what we're going to look at. So that's what's possible and potential. It's a little more cleared out than maybe my thought about it would be, but it just don't get tainted by all the woods. They're beautiful, so anything's possible. You can do as much clearing as you want. Yeah.
I just want to know, what is the difference between the community sharing, the community housing, and the sharing housing?
Well, no, there would be ideally, shared house, which would be a large house which 6 or 7 people could share, each with their own private quarters, and a shared living room and dining room. But then there would be like a clubhouse for the community with a community kitchen, community meeting room, gathering place, that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And one thing to kind of remember, one of the cool things about the overall design is that no phase has to go building amenities. There's pool, tennis, lake, all over here already that is deeded in that they always have to make available to residents at a reasonable fee.
Yeah, there you go.
And there's plenty of meeting space there. Build 1 bedroom less, send your guests down here. That kind of thing.
I've been through most of the area and it's very well done, and I want to congratulate you for going slow and doing it right.
I've got some good land planners.
Yeah, none of this, however, that I see is restricted access. And I'm just wondering if we had an intentional community that chose to develop the entire area, would there be the possibility of making this a limited access area?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing in the covenants that says you couldn't. It's not been, I mean, we were very purposeful about not having a gated community just because of what that says. That said, I can hear the concern where you're trying to maintain a particular kind of energy and you wouldn't want everybody running through it, but that's something we'll have to figure out how we want to do.
Well, the other thing, one of the points that was brought up, if apartments are built to rent or whatever, again, the people that rent them, what energy are they going to bring in? Are they going to match the energy of the community?
You know, so far we haven't had much trouble with there not being fairly cohesive energy in here.
Yeah, we've had,
How many are in the neighborhood now that are rented
in
out?
Highland Lake Village, over, God, I've been living there since 2001. We've had a lot of renters, people who have rented. Most of them actually have wound up building or buying eventually, but we had never, ever had a problem with any renters not kind of fitting into the community.
One reason for that is because the guy, Steve, who's the project manager here, is both the real estate side and the renting side. And if he's not real careful about who comes in, then it impacts his home selling. So there's this natural, he's really diligent about it.
And ideally, I guess, it would be, you know, the core group here would be the seeders of the project and have that energy already established. And I don't know if some people would be drawn to it, some wouldn't.
It also raises the issue of what I call social contracts. How are people going to agree to interact, to get along, to make decisions? If you want to sell your property, is there a community panel that decide? You know, so there's a lot of those kind of social contract issues. There's a really good book that Bonnie mentioned to me that I'm going to get called Intentional Community.
Intentional living.
Intentional Living, sorry, Intentional Living.
It's a woman who wrote it,
that Bonnie's read and said it was great about all the contractual, legal, social aspects. So it might be something we might all take a look at.
And that author actually lives here.
Oh, really?
US 9, Diana Leaf Christian.
That's true.
There you go.
No knock on our door.
That says a lot for here.
And we've got,
Didn't she live at Twin Oaks?
I mean, lives here, not in this neighborhood. We've got several people who've got really good resources available. One is dynamic governance, which is a really good tool for kind of a step above consensus.
Yeah.
Another one is heart circles. Raise your hand, Roger. Which is a really nice practice for being able to connect at that level and get better at it. Dynamic facilitation is a great tool for helping groups get to what's really important for them. So there's a whole community of folks that are actually, will be presenting out of here all the time. So we'll have a lot of these tools available.
Any other questions, comments? Yes.
What about horses?
You rent a spot for them over here, or there's actually enough room over here if y'all wanted to have some central area for animals, you certainly could. This has got animals in the middle, this has got animals in the middle.
Be cool to have horses. Definitely one thing would be goats for goat milk and lots of chickens. So that would be good.
No mowing.
Huh? No mowing, yeah. Yeah, the cows, well, yeah.
Miniature jerseys. Miniature, the short jersey.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed something, but my question is, so far, it sounds like you're just on the outskirts of formulating what this is going to look like in terms of size of lots, what types of structures will be on the lots. So you haven't really formulated what it would cost per lot, how soon it would have to be developed and things like.
Right.
It seems like there would be a place for input on that or more discussions to come.
Oh, yeah. Well, the goal is, Roland, is this. Like today, I just felt like that today was like a friendly get-together. Let's meet Carrie, let's see the property, let's have a good meal. And then Melinda will create notes. I'll send them out. And then we'll have a questionnaire, and then we'll do that sort of thing later. I'd like to think we could, let's just seal this deal today and make it happen. Okay, so yeah.
Auction.
Who brought their checkbook?
Now, all the lots you said are set up a 3/4 acre, right?
Well, that's just the density. You can group them in different ways. And property tax wise, it's better to do like we did here. Technically make the lot smaller, and then homeowner association owns everything else, and it's not taxed.
You were about to say something else?
Yeah, when you get to the numbers part, I'd be glad to share our very expensive lessons.
But, you know, just based on what I've talked, from what I've heard and felt energetically with the group, I mean, I've asked Carrie even, you can build a small, and I'm talking small, place, and, you know, maybe make the whole thing happen for as low as $100,000. It would be simple, it would be small, but it's a big deal. And then, you know, you could also go up and build a dream home, whatever you wanted. I mean, not that small one wouldn't be a dream home, but you could build a big house, whatever.
And what is this, how many square feet is small?
Small. Yeah, what's your definition of small?
The minimum.
Well, we've got one over there that's 98. Yeah, it's still here. Roger's got a, how big is yours, Roger?
80 square feet. 80.
Wow, yeah.
I'm looking to sublet.
Roger and Pam spent the last 2 nights.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Still married too.
oh, there you go. Well, you also have a house to escape to as well. But let me just add something. A couple of weeks ago, Ellen and I were, where were we? Hot Springs. Thank you. Yeah, people know where we vacation. If you're on Facebook, you know where we were 2 weeks ago. Where were we yesterday? So anyway, we were in Hot Springs, and it's such a cool little place. And there was a young man who was building a small cabin, very attractive. I went in, looked around. He said his building cost on that was $65,000, and you walked in, it had a kitchen and a living room, and it had a bathroom and 2 bunks over here, and then a bedroom in the back, and it had a desk built in. I mean, it was, one person could live, now that, of course, that would include land and other things necessary, but I mean, one person could live there very nicely.
And how much square feet?
And, huh?
And how many
I
square
don't
feet?
know. I would guess like, maybe 500. Maybe.
We can show you, there's several 900s in here, and there's several 900s over here. There's a 600 and 800 square foot right here in the corner. And right next to my house, I'm building a 440. And that 440 is plenty for 2 people.
My old cabin is 1,000 square feet, and it's plenty room, you know?
Yeah. Suka, I know you wanted to ask something.
Well, yeah, I'm confused or uncertain about if it was decided that we were going to do this, does a group have to form that purchases that whole piece of property? How is the land acquired? How is that paid for? Or is it individual lots sold within it?
It could be done anywhere on that continuum. It's like kind of going from wholesale to retail and every place in between.
I mean, if you had 5 people, let's say, that wanted to initially build, but you wanted to make sure that this whole piece of property was going to be there, how is that held? Is that held? Does that have to be pre-purchased by a group or?
To be, that's kind of a big discussion. I mean, there's a lot of options that can describe that have been used.
Yeah.
It's a big conversation.
It's a big, but my feeling is, just my feeling, I could be totally off. If it was something that a group came together and organized and it was appealing, I don't think we'd have trouble doing more than 5 people. I think that there's people that aren't even here today that couldn't be here that are interested, and then there's people who. I don't know. It could be something where we get together a plan, we sort of lay it out, present it again to it, hash it out, present it. I'm just throwing out ideas here, and then okay, who's in? Who's really into this? And then you sort of have a better idea. I would like to think that Carrie's not going to, if someone came in tomorrow and said they're interested, that we'd have a time to sort of organize, but,
I'll send them some.
Yeah, that's right.
I always do it in stages, we do one little, because this was done in 8 different stages.
Yeah, but it's a great question, so, I mean,
I didn't expect you to have the answer, but.
So why'd you
I
ask?
didn't want to open it. We need to deal with it.
Yeah.
Terry, could you review one time the entire project? This is Highland Lakes Inn, this is this, because I kind of missed some of that.
Sure. The building's in brown, Seasons, the lodge on top of the hill, the cottages, the cabins, and then the inn building are all right on top of it. And that's Jack's house is right there. This is our big barn there where my mom and our wood shop and all those things are. The neighborhood is all across the street. Fitness center down here on the corner. Garden hamlet, that's about 30, I think it's about 35 cottages ranging from 600 to 1,300 square feet. And then out past the house, right here at the end, South Lake is about 12. And I think if you go down here, that would be a lot like what that could be like back there. It's not as dense. All the trees were left, except for right under the house. That was the piece there.
Terry, that would all be city water and
Yeah.
connections?
The utilities are brought right up to the entry road.
That's it, yeah.
They go this far.
Where are we right now on the map? I was confused.
And just in case you've never been on the property before, after we go over there, you may just want to walk around. I mean, this lake is beautiful. There's also, they've created a fantastic fire ceremony, fire pit area. It's where they have a little bridge across the lake you can walk to. It's beautiful. The sanctuary, maybe we could go in there and look around. I mean, it's really a lot of cool things here already existing. And even if we were to be across the street where you'll see the property, you could walk over here and take a canoe out on the water or whatever. And
each neighborhood has the option, a little boat slip. I didn't say much about what's going to happen in here, though, just to let you know. What I'm seeing here is mostly we've got teachers and artists that are already doing programs at the sanctuary, like Victoria. And I see it as an extension of retreats, living kind of permanently in retreat. So this will be the quietest nook on the property. It's a great place to get away too. Definitely be smaller homes. But I'm looking forward to attracting enough folks to create a full curriculum back here. And all of us being able to make a living.
Well, maybe a flat rock.
Mini Omega.
any other? Oh, Brian?
Yeah, nobody likes me and I don't like anybody. How's this going to work?
That's all right.
I'll second that.
They all like me. Your wife can live here without you.
Fertilizer.
That's that social contract stuff.
So I guess if there's no more questions, we need to make a plan to get over there.
Let's pray that that dog knows where he's going, because we're all following the dog.
No, the golf course decided to sell, and the village bought it, and it's a park now. So there's absolutely. So there's this 100-acre park just right there in the corner. Nice little amenity.
He's leading the pack.
Look at that smile.
He must feel comfortable.
Come on, you rascal, you're holding up progress. You're eating the leaves.
He made me do it.
What is it? What?
It's salty.
I know exactly. No, it's lemony. What is the taste like?
That was poison ivy.
Oh, now it does. Yeah. No, I mean, it would be cleared a lot, but
Where's the sassafras tree?
seriously.
No, I'd say that any.
Are you documenting this?
There's a creek that runs right up the middle, and You can kind of see where the clearing starts on the other side, and we'll go to that side next, but it's just like this, kind of all the way up to the top.
Hey there, how you doing? Here we are in the woods.
So, walk over me, riding around to the other side.
Where's my house gonna go?
We already passed it.
We already passed it.
That's it. That's Hogan Corn, he's their caretaker.
Okay.
And there's little cabins in there, the original slave cabins.
Wow. Is that over here? Right here?
It's right here.
Oh.
That's big.